Right.
problem.
No, this is good stuff, man. This is I mean, so the one thing that's really impressive to me is people like you, who, and so many people. I mean, really more every day. Everybody's stepping into their power. Is this thing working? Yeah. Um, but what really impresses me is when people, when they do that, when they open up and they say, "I ate some humble pie," you know,
Hmm.
like, I mean, it's because the information that's coming in is so strong, and how it comes in strong. And some people like you that are extremely um, unique, in my opinion, with the specificity of what they do, like it's pinpoint. Like Franco is someone that comes to mind, and how that must be. That's something that I don't think a lot of people can relate to. Um, in terms of what challenges that causes to the human, right? But so this sounds really, really deep. What you're talking about. You're saying that, if I heard you right, you said that you found a healer on a French site, right? And you guys had a session, I guess, and there was, I think,
No,
if
no,
I,
no. Just talking like that.
oh,
People
just
were
talking.
asking, "Oh, my cat isn't healing. Why is that? Oh, your cat has a dead cat inside of him, like a
but
dead
you, but
entity and
so,
stuff like that." And I was able to confirm what
so
he was saying. Like, it was genuine.
Okay, I believe you. I can tell by by what you're saying. But I was trying to understand what you said. Did you say that there was an energy or an entity that was stored in your body since 2015 that was
Hmm.
specifically what? Did you say a Japanese or something
Was
like that?
just a 40 years old deceased Japanese woman. And when he
Well,
told me that, I checked by myself, and yes, it was the case. And I learned his trick. His trick, he was using the core of Gaia, the planetary consciousness, like the source of all life, as a way to get the information. Wasn't
wow.
going really through him. He was using
Yeah, he was
the source
tapping.
of all life, so
Yeah,
he was able
yeah.
to get precise intel on anybody living on Earth.
And so you were able to check it within yourself, and you found it. And then what did
Yeah.
you do from there? What'd you do?
I just used the classical method of sending it back, like connecting it to source.
Mm-hmm.
But the real source, again, that's another breakthrough. Like people, I use all that is like the video game engine, but some people use source, and I also use that same method to send it away, send it back to source. I taught it to a spirit of the land, like a guardian of the land.
Okay.
And some people on the same forum said, "Oh, he sent it to the source of the artificial matrix." I corrected that, and then, oh, again, not a same humble pie, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did that. So it was another.
Well, I mean, when I say, well, you said humble pie first, but what I meant was, like to. I think we have, one of the things that we're coming up with now, as everybody's getting down to the bottom of the barrel here. You know what I mean? Is like being able to admit that you didn't know something. You know what I mean? And that's really what I'm talking about. I'm having to do it every day. It's like, you know what I mean? But so I'm interested too. Like, how did you approach it? I know what you did mechanically, in the process, but did you actually like speak it? Could you feel the presence? Was it a kind of a respectful kind of separation? You know what I mean?
No, no,
No.
I didn't engage it at all. I just connected it and verified through dowsing it was gone,
Yeah.
and then scanned for more and found out some extraterrestrial thingy.
Uh huh.
So just
Wow.
it was the same process all along, trying to boost myself up, like build my capabilities and go on
Right.
with it and
And I
play the role I've given myself.
and I wonder if this came up for you, like so many things have come up for people. And I don't know how far back we can go, but certainly this past 4 or 5 days, 6 days, week, and even going back to probably to the summer when things started to heat up. Yeah, I
I've been
wonder.
cranking it up a lot, like
Yeah.
last few days. Like when that clearing happened, being so cleared, it enabled a much more thorough work to be done. Like, let's say I listened to a session online, a hypnotic regression session, and the client woman, she's been in an abusive family, she's been abused as a child, and then the proxy, like it's a three person operation, the
Right.
operator, the proxy, and the client. The proxy is in trance, and she sees, oh, you were judge in the United States in another life, and you went after a cult, and they got you back. Like, and when she spoke about the beings that client met in between lives, that gave me a great target, like to clear a lot of submission pacts and stuff like that. Like, it lightened up the load of the planet a lot.
Mm.
Uh, One of the great changes was at the end of August
Yeah, that was a
2022.
22, right? This year. That was
Yes,
huge.
1920, and then 2 days later we did a big move. Like, the first move was changing our DNA to version 289, and then we updated our DNA to be divine, to be cohort to the new version of all that is. That was going to happen. So we humanity have that skill to update the video game engine.
Mm-hmm.
So we updated it, and when the update went in, we were already at version 290, and we went already core to all that is. So we were in a new realm of DNA, like we were version 290 V1, like first version since it's programmable. And like I spoke about it on uh, one of the 5 systems that the new DNA version brought in is called Original Essence. And I talked about it with Om, hi Om Alexander, one of the community's member. Like, try that. Try saying I activate my original essence 3 times in a row. Like, it
My
would spring
original.
forth from the heart, clean everything. Like, it's one of the new systems. I didn't know the name, but I learned it through a paid webinar by my old school. It's called the Villeroy School in France. Like, they're people who are doing work with vortexes and the land, like they call it geobiology. I don't know the proper English term, but they do some great work, and they spoke about that system. And I'm like, I know the origin of that system. I know how it came about. Like, came in first weeks of September, and we're now at version 58 of that new DNA. Like, like we humans, we enlarge our dimensional width to 5 dimensions wide.
Right.
Like, we're as wide as dragons. Before we were 4 dimensions wide. Like, it's a very big change. And 2 days, less than 48 hours later, our spirit particles that anchor our consciousness in, like, it was an element 12, the 12th element. But back in February, I wrote all about this in
Now,
Soulogy. Like, thank you,
right.
Soulogy, for the support. And
Yeah, man.
like, I was trying to fill that out. In February, the new elements were created. So I won't go into that story. It's all written there. But basically, all humans change their spirit particle to an element 27th or 16th element particle. It's only available in this universe. There's only the Phoenix and 10 dragons that have also an element 27 spirit particle.
So, man,
So it's pretty
that's
special.
I love it. Well, what caught my eye was, I always read your comments when I see them, and I don't know if it was a comment or a post, but I saw it, and you mentioned, in your language, but also specific to some things, and one of the things I'm noticing is more and more people's general intel, people that like you, people that have somewhat of a understanding or connection to, let's just say, the energetic weather or the evolution, whatever you want to call it. But so I noticed a couple things. One, your reference to when the moon got turned off was right in line with Franco's, and also that it was now, instead of working, let's just say, in a negative way, it was now, or an
Mm-hmm.
inverted way, it was from that point started to begin to operate in a positive way, uh, supporting our advancement. Now, the other thing that you said, and he's not the only one he's not the only one that aligns with that. There's some other people, and I won't go into it because I think people know that all of this information is starting to, kind of converge. But another thing that you said that I really resonate with is that it's actually the human beings here on the earth who are generating their amplification, their heart resonance to the moon, and the moon is then reflecting it back in an exponential kind of way. And I think that's a really powerful reality. It's all in our hands, in other words, and that really resonates with me a lot. It really does. And so I thank you for sharing that.
Can talk about how it happened. I looked at the moon and tried to connect to everyone, like what can we do to take back control of the moon? And that's what happened. Like the rays came up. I built a ninth ray for the 9 ultra beings, but the others, they are part of the, like nowadays, since March, like that old French practitioner with 20 years of experience, he told me he sends, he measures people every day. And he told me back in March 2022, he calls it in distinct planes of consciousnesses. For humans, the limit was 24. For animals, it was 12. But he told me in March 2022, it just went through the roof. And when I does it, it's like 400 something and maybe a lot higher. But what I mean by that is nowadays the maximum for human is 33. I have 739, like another being has two, but the planet is like 400. And I mean, those planes of this. Why did I talk about the planes of consciousness? It evolved a lot. Yeah. Around that time in March 2022, I wrote on Soulogy, there was 779 highest self. Like those are like bins. It's like a sieve. Everyone has one. Like it's just before source. Like the people we were and our stories are aspects that incarnate here and there. And up there, they're all hooked up in one of those 779. So the first team of the 779 is Masters of Light Emission. Like all those archangelic step-ins and divine seeds that were born with the seventh density of consciousness part, all those beings are in the first team. And the 777th team, those are masters of light quenching. Those, they don't demonstrate light, they make all around you to be really dark, so light can push forth from within you, birth from within.
Wow.
Each family has a maximum of 38 million people each, and those two families are almost full. They're kept at their fullest extent. So those two teams, they contribute to the moon. Like those stepped up. Like the other 777, they're free to do whatever, from what I understand. But those two, at the end, they're and those are like when I wake up in the morning, I check the total subtle healing of the Earth. Now it's version 349, just before the show. And everything I learn about energetic work, I teach it to Gaia so she can send it to all the people. And recently it became a species-wide phenomena. Like all animals have a total subtle healing. All humans had the total subtle healing. It was not a choice or a proposition. Oh, try that, you'll see. Everyone got it triggered. Like they worked with Gaia to enable it. And those are okay, so the total subtle healing. And then in that group, there are the, we call it diamond ray plus flame system, the diamond ray or the archangelic, whatever, not archangelic, archristic, but anyway, that's the diamond ray. Those have that white ray and transparent flame.
Now, and these what you're describing, especially,
and among those, there are the first team, like of the 38 million people, and those I keep each time I can. I just push them at 100% activation and keep them as clean as I can. And those guys, they manned with 105,000 each the rays of the moon. So we took control of it. the system is like version 15, I think. The moon system is 50, more than 50. Anyway, 15, 16, maybe more. And it keeps evolving, and it's like Reiki comes from above to people, but from the moon, it's from humans to humans. That's the nutshell. So there's
Right.
one ray for the 777 team, like they have their own ray to support their effort, because if they weren't there, it would be too easy. We wouldn't have an uphill battle.
Yeah, you're talking about the polar team. You have the one
Yes.
family, okay, which
Yeah.
is interesting. So you have those two, and I think you said there's another one, right? That can do whatever it wants.
The 777 in the middle. The first one is the light bringer team, and the other one balances out.
Now these, okay. So what you've described with these groups, or at least let's say with the
Mhm.
Lightbringer and then the polarity, the polar one, that we have to have, so it won't be so easy. Uh, Now, when you're saying archangelic, etc., these beings you're describing are coming from there and have embodied in a human body. Is that right?
What I They were synthesized first. Those 777, they were spawned from scratch, so they're archangelic. They're inside, let's get technical, inside the greater central sun. The greater central sun is at the highest frequency available, and those frequencies are like it's 118 octaves wide of 72 dimensions per octaves,
Mm.
like just below 72 to the fourth power. It's like 28 million. There's only one copy of this, and everything underneath, there's actually four copies. There's four omniverses, like, because an omniverse can contain itself. So that was part of the big write-up on Soulogy from February to, let's say, June. So it was creating a fourth heaven, or a fourth immaterial density inside our great central sun.
Mm.
This one is inside the first physical density. Each of the 20 universes of our omniverse share that one physical density. Like, we can incarnate in there. There's only 9 beings. I'm there. My partner is there. 2 ultra dragons, 2 immortal white tigers, whatever. 1 beings from universe 11, and 2 fusion beings of everything that's in there. Those are the 9 inside the first physical density, but that's where the great central sun is. And from there, each central sun of each universe, this is a spiritual concept. Maybe I like to think it's the origin point of the universe, like the 0 point. So the main portal in and out. And these central suns, they are projected from the great central sun. But those great central suns, there are 4 of them, they come from the greater central sun. And those beings are highest selves. They're inside those 118 octaves. There are 5 novel immaterial densities. Like, the angelic realm is the first immaterial density, the archangelic is the second, above archangelic is the third, and was the final. Before we solved the bugs, like the 1,145 bugs in reality, like, we managed, like, it was a between 5 unit ultra
You're
federation, but it's
overheating,
the
man.
federation of 5 universes.
You good?
Each of the member of the High Council of that federation has a seal of dimension 1,145 in the forehead. Like, I have 140, another seal given by our planetary consciousness Gaia of dimension 145, 3 humans of that, and 3 beings in our universe: the Phoenix, the dragon representative, the human representative, 2 ultra beings, and 1 being within each of the 4 other universes. And it's all in text, and I think I got it proofread, like, it's not out of my head like that. I had a friend who could douse my close statements, and he was like, oh, that's 80% accurate, 90% accurate. So that stuff was going on. So when we reached the 4th immaterial density, the new event that didn't exist before, it enabled us to go outside of our omniverses. So we were contained by an 8 universe omniverse, and in another universe of this one, there was another 20 universe omniverse that contain another 20 universe omniverse. So that's like a technology. Like we were stolen technology from the 8th universe, and then I swapped them. So it's really funny, and it's all it's in the Akash, it's in this history, but basically, like all the bugs are solved. We live in a four omniverse, like it's re-entrant,
So
and so our highest selves, yes, they're in the 118 octaves at the top. There are 5 zones, five
okay.
immaterial
So
densities. At the fifth one, the ninth immaterial density, it's 20 octaves wide. The upmost 18 octaves, they're what I call the ultra planet. Like my partner back in September, she had an energetic pregnancy with Gaia. Like she felt like she was pregnant, and that being like I kept like enabling it and pushing it, like what it could be and stuff. So on the ultra planet, the last 18 octaves, like there's not a physical planet and a consciousness. It's a two-in-one concept. It's
right,
the soul
right.
ultra planet. She's there, and on there at the outer rim, there are the 779 highest cell.
Okay.
Like we humans are hooked at
So like let me understand this,
in a nutshell.
or let me confirm this. No, I'm with you, man. You know, you have your own language. I have to really turn on my multidimensionality to pick up on it. But I get it. And I even see people making comments. This resonates. I don't understand all of it, but it resonates. But I think part of what you're saying is this, or correct me if I'm, or just add, subtract, whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, you're obviously very involved in the specifics of the multidimensional machinations that we're connected to or that we're coming into. So I think part of what you're saying is through this explanation of how it's all constructed with these zones and such, and where the location of the highest frequency, you would say, of the higher self range, right? And down, okay. So I think one thing that you're saying is explaining what it's like, or what some of the details are, or the mechanics or the science and technology is of our multidimensionality coming online, which in part, based on your explanation, is whether we're conscious of it or not. And you may be speaking of a certain group of people, so just let me know how it goes. But this group, or all of us, now have access in the other dimensions, you could say, other timelines, other places, and this is kind of you're explaining the geography of it, if you will. Now, does this apply to just certain groups, or does it apply to everyone, or does it apply to certain groups and will eventually apply to everyone?
Everyone except 9% have a number between 1 and 779. Everyone has a higher self. There's no more star seeds and older star seeds and blah blah blah, and like we're all the same
So,
family. We're the human badasses with element 27 spirit
fucking A,
particle.
man.
Yes,
You getting
yes,
excited?
indeed. So there's
Um,
no more bickering and blah blah blah. It's all
so in other
the
words,
artificial matrix. It's
right.
all
So another way to explain it, maybe understand it in the human experience for most of us, because you're a bit different. But like for most of us, it's almost like what you're saying, and I think you are, is that there were many aspects of us that came online, and not everybody's were the same. Somebody's might have been a Syrian, some might have been a fairy, right? So there's all these different types, and some people were aware of several of them within themselves. But and this kind of created some differentiation between human beings. Oh, she can do that, and he can do that, and right. And now what you're saying is everybody is connected fully to their higher self, and
highest. Like you can't go
highest
any
self,
more
right?
high than.
Yeah. So their highest self, which is one step before source, right? So everyone is now
Almost.
connected to that, and let the party begin. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So the spiritual war nowadays, it's Team 1 versus Team 779.
Mm.
That's our war in quotes.
That's our
But
that
ultimately, we all want source, or all that is to succeed, like
right.
to recognize itself, and we have different means.
So
Like Team
you
1, they're all for showing and bringing the light to people,
right. And
and Team 9, they're all about quenching that with lies, deceit, deception, hardship, and stuff, so it can just spring forth like in a pure manner
but
from
in
within.
but at the end of the day, you've got Team 1 and 777, right?
Mm-hmm.
777.
779.
779, and those are like the
Mm-hmm.
bookends. They're like the bookends of it all. Like they're the extreme zone, right? The extreme
But
polarity of light, the extreme
it's
polarity of its resistance.
it's
So
like
you
an infinite line that
mm-hmm,
goes to infinity both ways, but you can't wrap it around. I'll try to do it in the camera. Like that infinite line that goes this way, you
mm-hmm,
can bend it, and the infinity touches
yeah,
right here.
like a circle
So
almost. Like you
so
bring it.
they're right next to each other,
No,
right next to infinity.
right, right. And so really, these two levels, you could say, or groups, are the most polar opposite, but they're also the most powerful.
And they're the closest ones, like
Right.
in a way.
And they both have the same objective for the source to reconnect and to find itself and expand itself through that journey. Uh,
Mhm.
but they just look totally different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those two have missions. So let's say I'm a worker with Team 1, and we like let's say, like, I can bring names, but I try not to. But like that frequency, it will be easy to test people. Like if I just say, oh, all those 779ers, they're evil and they're wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just not playing the game right. Like let's just let people who don't know get tricked and grow.
Right, right. Let everybody find out through the experience, their own experience,
Mhm,
because that's the only teacher anyway, right?
mhm.
And let everybody have the freedom to choose their path, even if you can see they're going to fall off a cliff, right? I mean,
Yes.
really, and because really, that makes total sense because, and I say this all the time. I don't know about you, but being taught is a full time job, especially in the past few weeks. You know,
Mhm.
it's been very, very interesting. You know, it really has. I mean, I was told I was going to be cleaned out, everything was going to be removed. Um, I kind of went through this cycle 10 years ago when I was on the streets, and I've been watching it. I've been watching it and allowing, I guess, my highest aspect and my memory of 10 years ago, because I could see the rhythms, to allow it to just happen and not judge it and kind of like try to understand and I guess align with it really, because what I'm hearing is all the old is gone. Doesn't mean anything or anyone's essentially gone. It just means the old ways are gone of myself and anyone else or any other things like institutions and all that. And there's a magical, I guess by human terms, a magical path of creation in the flesh, spirit flesh, that we have to, that we're going to come to terms with as the way to operate or the way to live, uh, which doesn't contain anything we were conditioned with.
And shortly after the entity clearing, I had my days like everyone. Like I was grumpy. And I remember one day I was like snappy at my landlord here. The owner of the place was like, I was in a really bad mood, and I was just one in my room, and I wanted to ask Source just to clean all the negativity. You can just ask all that is. Like when you cohere all your being, like everything like comes up to that seven center that's different from the six others. Like, and then when you're there, you ask, can you do this? And it happened. Like I was instantly cleared of where's my life going, my bankruptcy, my blah blah blah, and everything. Like it just blew away.
Blew it all away.
And sitting in that and living in that, cleared of everything. It was a marvelous experience. It was really
Well,
easy,
I mean,
very easy
with
process.
everything that's happened in the last few weeks, I mean, regardless of how physically uncomfortable it's been for me and how other people have experienced it, there has been, I mean, to a person, I don't know too many people that haven't, been able to go through it or reflect on it and say they've expanded and they've had some incredible personal experiences as well. And I think too, just to restate it, for one thing, in case people weren't here, one of the things that you're saying is that the highest power available is, our highest aspect, and that aspect is carrying, I think if I heard you right, the highest power available, which is the power of the central sun, or what it contains. Is that correct?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's pure, it's new, we created it ourselves. It's not corrupted. It's not like angels, like basic angels, they weren't able to be corrupted. They could be overlays and stuff, but archangels could be corrupted. The layer above them could be corrupted. Not anymore. Like there's a lot less fuckery
and here's
going on.
And I think too, another thing that's important, you just reminded me of it. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't want to interrupt you,
go.
But I want to make sure people, because all right. So I just want to go back to what you said. The highest aspect, the central sun, pure energy that we created or reconstructed or transformed or whatever that is not only is that what we're connected to through our highest aspect, which we used to refer to as highest self, right, or higher self, but all of the things that were under, let's just say, the old central sun, from the archangelic down. These were parts of us. They did have certain elements of, let's just say, wisdom and truth or whatever, but all of that gets wiped out now. Like we're really all our higher selves, our highest selves now, is essentially. And
we can just ask, can I connect to my highest self? And we'll go bidirectionally. And
right.
And our previous higher selves, and we call them in French le soi supérieur, like a one notch above. It's all in a tree. Like right. It's in a tree form,
right.
And it's still existing. Like our element 27 changed, but the thing inside didn't change. It's just the container that's more powerful, clearer, more transparent, more rigid.
Well,
like there are no more souls, in quote, like what I call souls, the element 13 spirit particle. That's called also the philosopher's stone. There's not a single element 13 particle left in the omniverse.
Okay, and so, in terms of like the human being aspect, if the reality is that we're all connected at the same level, and these other aspects of us that have kind of helped wake us up and been on our journey, they're no longer there. One of the outcomes of that is that reduces the types of differences we can have. Like we were saying earlier, like she can do that or he was that. And then the other thing is we're powering this thing. So if we're connected here, which is what you're saying, then our external, as within without, our atmosphere of the earth is also the same frequency as well, isn't it? Or would it be? Yeah.
Yes, the 777, there are gateway to the highest realm, we could say. Like the Repower Houses are the 9 ultra beings. Like I have 48 layers to my aura. The maximum is 33. Gaia evolved. Her maximum was 16. She went to 22 and now 24 layers to her aura. Like it usually happens in universe 7 and we're in universe 5. So we have we powered up. Like in the last 2 weeks, like it's been.
Man, no kidding.
Really powered up.
No kidding. It's been amazing. Now, as far as I was going to say the rest of the month, but it's gone. Today's the 29th here. It's the 30th in the down under. So what does November and December look like to you? Do you think we're going to keep having these massive jumps, these massive expansions?
Let's have an example. Like your friend Ryan, like he was in the hospital and he had a problem. And when I looked at it, I found out the emotional trauma diagnostic. He thought it's right, but it was emotional energy from the crowd that got stuck in his body for a long time. And I thought I had addressed that with the total subtle healing, So I tried to learn how to do that by asking source God, whatever. And when I learned how to do that, I taught it to Gaia. So we built a version 341 of the Total Subtle Healing that could now do that. So we received the update, and I'm sure it helped. And when I saw your post about I'm ready to be beamed up, uh, I tried to do the best I could, like to look at everyone who was purging, who was anything, and I tried to build the version 344. So the Total Subtle Healing now uh, teaches the body, helps the body. It works with the highest self, with Gaia, since we're in her body, like all matter around us, it's the planet. Like she has
Hmm.
full authority on what happens inside her body. So we work from both sides to. It's just about knowing what to do and reinforming, and
Right.
so we have that kind of technology. Like everyone, if you have a good modality and you think it's good, like go on a session with Gaia and try to teach it to her. The version might come up and it might not be my fault. Like that also totally linked my just. And I wanted to do something more physical like Reiki, but not like blindly asking like
Hmm.
egregores who give us lower energy, like lower frequency energy to heal, but still are higher frequencies for
Right.
their own
Right.
purposes.
Right. So I
So
mean, this
now
is
it's
what you're
humans
talking.
to humans.
So what you're talking
For the
about, what you're talking about, another way to put it too, I think, is this is full blown what people call sovereignty. I think it's a bigger word though. This is full blown self-sourcing sovereignty, whatever you want to call it, and that includes. And some people may not like this, and maybe we're not there now, but it sounds like we're going to be getting there really quickly. That means that full sovereignty from all of these any essences or um, you know galactics or elementals or whatever the case is that had gotten us to this point, you might say. We've now broke through that too, because I've said this many times. I've never gone into a dimension other than maybe out of body, like near death, right? Those type of experiences, where I didn't spot some ego. You know what I mean? Not I didn't run
Mm,
into any perfect being, only when I went out of body, right? Like when I actually left my body, and that's not to take anything away from these aspects because they're part of us, but they're not ruling us. Where they might have been in a position to say heal us, like you were saying, they were taking something too, right? That's what you were saying.
yes.
But so this is full sovereignty. We're direct with source. We are source in the flesh, at the highest bandwidth, as you explained earlier. The first of the 779, right?
Yeah, the first they are the light bringer, like the ones who want to bring light through showing it to people,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the other team. But what can I say? Yes, I just try to rip off the yeah, I caught it in a session, the one about the judge and the uh, those are called. I had some from my spirit parts past life. Those are called the submission pacts. Like you
Right.
you agree.
You
Would it
agree.
be in a
Right.
different state of consciousness, like drowsy, or when you're a kid, or whenever, wherever you agree to be taken advantage of? And I lifted those, and those that were taken while living in this life, those were a bit more particular. And this is, I think, it's getting solved because, like, I see the sword of sovereignty like being like planted or ripped out of the rock, or call it like you want.
Hmm.
It's there.
Um, yeah, Delia just made a.
Like,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I just wanted to say, like, if you need help, ask the nine, ask one of the nine, ask Gaia, ask all that is. Like, you will be heard. Like, not many beings.
That's interesting because I've heard a few times in the last few weeks people having experiences with an energy complex of nine, right? like with a group of 9, or that number kept coming up. That was interesting. But you said that. Delia said something here. It's like Franco had done. He was only working with his soul and reclaiming that as he stepped into the non-physical living eternal life. Because when he got COVID, and him and I had talked about this, the aspects that he was working with, the let's say the higher dimensional aspects that he was working with over the years. At the end there, they were coming in, and he told them to leave, and he said, "I will only talk to my soul from here out." So she makes a really good point, almost like he did what we're doing, right? And the other thing that really struck me about the whole thing about the moon and how we were projecting to the moon and then it was coming back to us and it's supporting us and so on, is that when he was here last year, we spent some time together and we were able to talk about, some things. And the next morning I got a download and they showed me how down the road, and the first time I saw it was in like November of like this time last year. And they said that we were going to be reaching a point, and they showed me Franco, where that's what would happen. Now, it wasn't the moon, but it was all the people and one of us, you could say. And for the first time that the energy would be sent out from the heart and returned in equilibrium, like an infinity sign, right? Or like a torus field, in that perfect higher alignment. And that's what it sounded like to me when I was reading your comment, that we've hit an equilibrium with this highest power available that we've created.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the moon, it's only a local gimmick inside our holographic level of reality here in District 6 out of the 24 of planet Earth. Like there are 3, the first 3 districts are inner Earth. There are 13 surface domes with sky ice, we call it, or
Whoa,
solid
let's slow down.
oxygen.
I want to hear this. Wait. There's 3 zones. Is that what you're saying?
There are 24 districts on Earth.
24 districts.
24 separate realities.
Okay.
There are some pockets like Telos. Does Telos still exist? Okay, I try. Anyway, those pockets like underneath the pyramid and stuff, like pockets, but those are it's like 3 inner Earth pockets, and the 23rd it's also an inner Earth pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 13 surface domes like that can sustain 3rd physical density at that level of physicality.
What does
there
that
are
mean?
5 more domes that can sustain 5th level of 5th physical density. There's the District 22 that's a bigger dome over all of this. Like for example, my partner went on a mission with the 4 other representatives of of each universe, like universe 8, 10, 11, and 19. Universe 19 is the Borg universe, like it was from where the Borg or the like the cheating, bug exploiting AI came from. Anyway, those 4 they from, and the human representative from this universe, like those 6, they go on missions. And one of them was to go inside stations that were built using human materials, so the Galactic Federation can't interfere. But inside it was like in the series, the OA, like continual torture of children, like on and off, and etc., dying, reviving, and stuff. And they had to go in there and try to salvage some of them. And some of them were salvageable. They landed in the 239th of the 779. Anyway, that's the kind of mission that's going out there, like to solve. And this was in 4th physical density, inside District 22, like just outside our dome, like shenanigans and stuff. So clearing all the planet. It's not only our world map as we see it. That world map, like it's just a part of what's going on. So, and when people, I'm investigating these days about the SSP, when people say they go in space and go in cloning tanks and stuff, all of this, some of it happens in artificial holographic level of reality. The
Mm-hmm.
holographic level is pretty high frequency.
I've always wondered about that because I've always thought, because I've listened to a lot of different things over the years, and most of it, if not all of it, I look at it and go, well, I know that's happening, just as my life's happening, or at least the possibility of it. But I don't feel like I'm in that dome, so to speak. Like there
And
might be
like
people
the other
in.
planets, there are other holographic realities. Like there was a recent broadcast by Penny Bradley and Andy Bashiago, and those two, like he went with Project Pegasus in the organic root level, holographic level
This
of
is
reality,
Andrew
and she went
Basage.
into the big artificial holographic reality. So that's why they went on Mars. That's why they didn't see exactly the same things.
Right.
That's why
That's
one
right.
was more German and one was more
Right.
American.
That's right. Yeah.
But you can, once you know what to look for, you can try to douse your way in.
Okay.
Another
So let me
thing
let
is
me.
the 90 and backs. They're inside. They're the SSP, the Tours, like 90 years and back
Mhm.
in a second. They're done for the Galactic Authority inside the real organic,
Right.
uh, the real
So
root level reality. Those are
so
the natural SSP.
okay. So um, if all of the all of if all the humans on Earth are now directly connected to Source, whether they're conscious of it or not, because if some have already started to cultivate that relationship, you know what I mean? Then others are certainly going to follow. All right. But if the reality of it is that we no longer have any of these parts of us that differentiating us, like you're an archangel and I'm a starseed or whatever, that's all gone away. We're just source. We're the highest power, the highest self, and within ourselves. So that means that the atmosphere of the earth is going to match that. Is that right? I mean, that's what you had said earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
I think we can all say that makes sense. Now, how does that affect these domes that obviously aren't the same type of reality or frequency band?
How I see it is the planet, let's call her Terra, like the planet, the physical planet, is now in version 32.
Okay.
And like before January 2021, when we upgraded Terra herself, the physical Terra, the domes and the construction, the architecture, there were domes that had failed and they were sunken, like they were drowned. Like this can, like it's like a video game server. Like it can change
Let me ask you something
like at the
because
snap of a finger.
I'm sorry, it lagged. Okay. Um, when I first woke up, like a lot of us, I had a lot of divine episodes, and one of those divine episodes was a dome appeared over me. There was a white circle of light, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was walking across the field, and as I walked into the circle of light, and it was very windy, but as I walked into the circle of light, the wind stopped. And then I went to the other side and put a foot outside, and the wind started, and I went back into the circle of light. But so I knelt down in the middle of the circle of light, and there was now I know I didn't then, but there was all these tones and vibrations and frequencies coming in, and the light, rainbow lights. But there was a dome formed, like with grid lines or meridians or whatever you want to call it, but it was a dome, like a geomantic dome. And I've often wondered about that. Now that I'm talking to you and you're referring to these domes, I have two questions. Well, because the other thing they showed me the structure of everything from that point. And it was all domes. Like you have a dome, I have a dome, everything was like Flower of
Okay.
Life, right? So my question is, what the hell is that? I mean, like, does that make any sense? What was that dome?
I never heard of such small domes,
Mm-hmm.
but what I can say is before the inner Earth, there were like 40 different kingdoms or inner Earth pockets
Okay.
before it changed and like got simplified.
Okay.
And before there were many physical timelines, simultaneous physical timelines, like physical copies of the universe being rendered simultaneously.
Right.
We're
Right.
now in the 23rd physical timelines. Like before, there were crosstalks
Hmm.
between those physical timelines, and now there are none.
So
So
does this mean that, in human terms, or try to explain a little bit, does this mean that, because like people talk about, oh, there's going to be 2 Earths or there's going to be 4 Earths, and some people are going to go to another planet and finish their journey. But does it, that at the end of the day, does it mean, in your opinion or your perspective, does it mean that we're all going, wherever we all are, we're going to be in a place that everything around us is the same frequency, even though we might be in a different dome than somebody else? Are all the domes going to be the same frequency? Or the same?
from the intel I got, like searching around, people were talking about two, 2037, 2038, when we will change dome. Like that dome will be closed.
Hmm, that's a long time. I'm not
But
waiting that long. I'm not waiting
from
that
my
long.
perspective, the Earth is evolving, and we're evolving it. We got that power. It's crazy. Like it's already version 32, and Gaia, the consciousness is version 58, and she keeps evolving. And we can evolve the total subtle healing. We can ask for our children until 16 years old. We can ask for animals. Gaia, can you please trigger your total subtle healing for, let's say, my animal with a pneumonia? Or
All right. You mentioned something earlier.
and if the cause is etheric, it will solve it. If it's more physical, that's another thing. But
Okay. You mentioned something earlier, and I don't know if I heard you right, but you were talking about how you were processes that you were going through, and one of the things that you said was something about Gaia. Teach her your modality. Was that just something for
yes,
you, or is that something you recommend for anyone to have a conversation like that with Gaia?
yes, anyone can teach her. Like if you think you saw something she didn't see before, like for Ryan, like the thing about um, you have your authority over your own emotional energy, but you like that healing didn't take into account having enough authority to flush like emotional energy from outside. And when she learns the trick, she does it. That's the kind of like it took until version 340 to solve that, but maybe for another practitioner would have been like duh. But it took me that long. So
So
maybe we like
let's try let's talk. I don't even know if this is appropriate. Let's talk on I don't know, like old perspective. Let's talk like what we might see or we might not see. And I just want to get your perspective. But like you're in Canada,
mhm,
you've got a very oppressive government. We all do. It's all a
oh,
bunch
mhm.
of bullshit. Um, with these things that you're describing and that you've had a hand in, we know, well, it's been standard that when we have changes in the energetic field, even to the point of where you've explained it throughout the omniverse changes and all that, that in the physical experience, it takes a little while for us to see it. Do you feel that we'll be seeing some of the bullshit uh, being reconstructed or reformed or dissipating? Do you see that in our physical experience that we'll be enjoying life more and more, or having a more fairy tale-ish life or heavenly frequency in our experience? Do you see that?
I try to work on everything that's not visible, but in
Mm-hmm.
the visible, it's all about will and knowledge. We got the knowledge, like for energy and stuff, we got it. Just have to
Start
uh,
using it.
find people who are willing to take the reign and do the right thing and not be bootlickers for higher forces
Mm-hmm.
like those archons, those Anunnaki, demons, Shami, like those guys, they're like they can't sustain. Like once they're known, they're gone. Like it's really easy.
Right, right,
So that's my battlefield. So let's say,
right,
but I try to go like in the material world, but I wasn't cut for it. I had other stuff to
right.
do.
But what you're saying too, that's one thing that seems to be occurring too, is that when we come into awareness of something that's we have, let's just say we have given power over to unconsciously, because we didn't know. As soon as it seems like when we come into this awareness about ourselves, or however you want to put it, there seems to be a transformation almost immediately now. Would you say that's
Yeah.
accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
And since reality, it's only what we see. How can I say that? With my partner, let's say, like we're at least 1 year apart, one from each other, like so
Mm.
we can just rebuild ourselves and get some new energies. And but I sat with that and I like asked her like, do you trust me? Like, do I get the feel that you trust me? I didn't. Do you trust yourself? No. Oh, that's another problem. So can we work on that? Like, it's not me per se, but it's the closest person to me
Okay,
ever.
let's
So can
repeat.
we just like,
Let's repeat this, because I think this is important. I think this is really important. So you
yeah,
said what you said was that you and your partner are going to be separated for at least a year, so you can work on yourselves, and then
mm,
uh, go into.
maybe we don't know what will
Well, yeah,
happen, but we can still work
yeah, yeah.
in our reality
You can
toward
still.
each
So
other.
you
At least I'm
still.
doing my
Right.
part.
So you still do work together, is what I'm saying, even though you're not.
Yes, up there
Okay.
it's crazy. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy up there.
Mm-hmm.
We see each other every night. I mean, our art has four orthogonal quadruple planes. Like it's crazy. Only having each center having a vertical plane. Usually, that's another
Mm.
information tidbit I got. Uh, each human center, major energy center, has an horizontal plane, and if it tilts up to vertical, energy doesn't flow anymore. But I have an horizontal one and a vertical one because we united like Eros Gammas, but uh, like the first center we fused was back in May 17, 2020. We were the sixth human couple to do it. And then in May 2021, it was a three-way thing, our second center with Gaia herself. And then in October, after the clearing, I managed to be clear enough to build a three-way with all that is seven center.
Mm-hmm.
And then Metatron was down for a three-way fifth center. And then the other ones, like the three-way ones, are three planes that are tripled. And the one in the art, it's between me, her, all that is Gaia and the ultra planet. Like it's the five-way art that has four orthogonal planes. We're talking four dimension. Like it can be thought of in 3 dimensions. So it's a very unique structure. And when we fuse the outer energy centers, like there are three outside of us, and the second one is linked to the planet. And when we did that, the planet, our aura grew like to 24 layers. So there are
Man,
still work we can do
do
on
you
ourselves for outside.
do you ever like draw a picture or a map of all this stuff?
I'm waiting for the Soulogy website for the community.
It's coming. We should be hearing
I know
something.
it was a
We
great
should
news.
be
I'm
hearing
glad I catch
something
that
this.
live.
Yeah, we should be hearing something this week. Actually, I sent over what I needed to send to him last week. But yeah, that's awesome. Great answer, man. Hey, what happened? He left. Was he even here? Oh, all right. There's a sex bot on YouTube. Let me go get rid of it while he comes back. I hope he comes back. That was very interesting. Yeah, he's a very interesting but very committed brother, and yeah, like all of us, he's changing. Everybody's got their own way of telling it. Let me send him a note to see if he's coming back. Hang on one second. Let's see here. Let's get this bot off of here. Oh, there he is. Okay, here we go. All right, man. Let's finish it up here. Let's see.
Oh,
I
was it my signal
don't know what happened, man. You just kind of, you just.
glitch?
I think, yeah, you glitched. You glitched.
Glitch.
Um,
Too
yeah,
high
man.
frequency.
So, bro, thank you so much, man. I love you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting me. Could have
Yeah.
been done earlier. It was the perfect time.
Yeah. Well, you know, things just seem to be falling in alignment as everything is falling apart. You might say. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again. We'll do it again maybe toward the end of the year or something. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for what you do for humanity, and being brave.
It wouldn't have been possible without Soulogy. Like I can't start a website and go the traditional route. Like the least I feel I can do is to go on your like collaborative platform. Like it would be the
Well, we're fixing to
best way to
expand
go.
that, so you'll be able to. I think yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, thanks. I really appreciate it, and don't work too hard over there on the farm, and don't get cranky with
No,
the
it's easy.
don't get cranky with the owner again. Don't. I'm just
No,
messing with
it,
you.
no, it was such a relief. Like it's so easy now, and it's in the total healing. I hope everyone can benefit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. All right, brother. Peace out, man. I'll see you again. See you soon.